Here I am. It's Leon C. Here to empower you as you look for empowerment, and as you call me, aka Morpheus, to give you a real pill about something that you at least have not heard before, or haven't heard it in a way that I and yourself will receive it in this current day and age. I have two, as I like to start off with, some of the emailers that have emailed me some information based on their questions that they want me to answer. And I noticed that in some of my other videos as well, I have put up some animatronics on top. That's not to contradict to say that I'm not a natural person. It's just that every now and then, like I've suggested, if you give me a suggestion, I like to put things up there just to let you know that I'm listening to what you say, and to let you know that there is some that I am concerned about how you feel in your questions. And also, we as an American country and nation, or just America itself, since it is going down the slope, since we are losing our values and equality and the moralities in which we need to actually ascertain back into ourselves, or to at least stabilize and build the value and stability that America once had, this channel is created. It is created for you. So the answers that you may give me are questions that you are able to give me. I am able to give back unto you for our empowerment. For your empowerment will do nothing but help the future and help America tomorrow. So I'm going to get right to it. These two emailers asked me two important questions. And it's funny how when you ask me questions, you are expecting Morpheus to tell you something that either, if you haven't heard it before, then you are expecting for me to give it to you in a different way, as in a red pill form, to bring your mind out of the normal, or you can say the common, and to give you a very wider array of empowerment, to have you in optimistic thinking, to look at things in a different atmosphere, in a different angle, in a different idea. So therefore, I will say things that if you don't agree with, you don't have to comment on. Just think about it. I may always say things in my other videos that you may not understand right now. But if you keep on living and you keep on open up your mind and seeking for understanding, then the comprehension of some of the things I talk about will actually come to you in its realistic form. Because most times it's not about right. It's not about wrong. It's about what's forward, and it's about what's true. And what you're looking for your empowerment, you're looking for the truth. That's why you come to Morpheus, to give you nothing but the truth, and something that brings you out of a misconception of what looks like the truth, and gives you a broader understanding of a higher opposition and idea. Okay? So, it says here, Dear Morpheus, I am an ex-minister. I was in the church for 12 years. I was on the rise to become a preacher. But unfortunately, during my time, I began to read about the studies of religion and realized they all derived from a fictitious history. I love when they do their research. I want to know, Mr. Morpheus, he says, with exclamation marks, how are we to live without religion? Can you answer this question for me, please, in video? And maybe this might help others who are looking for a direction when religion is gone. Okay, I'm going to answer that as simple as I can, my dear ex-minister. I love it when you do your research, first of all, because you found the truth of your own. Religion is a stigma and an idea, same as it is church itself. It's no attack on the church, my dear family of America. We aren't saying that church is no good. Church is good for those who need direction. Church is good for those who need to have a leg up in their existence. Church is good for those who need a stepping stone in order to get to the next level of their existence and their paradigm. That's what church is for. It's not to say that it's no good. It's an idea. It's something that you use to get to the next place. It's not something that you stay at. If you stay within the church parameter, which you can consistently consider to be a religion. Church can also be considered as a good thing depending on like a group or a culture, or maybe you go to church to be a musician in church or something like that. That's understandable. Let's get down to the specific. Church meaning the religion of church, meaning the establishment like Christianity, Baptist, Muslim, whatever it is, wherever that may be. That type of church is what I'm talking about. Okay, those are ideas to open up your mind to go to the next plane and place of your evolution, your spiritual evolution. Okay, if you stay there, listen to me, if you stay there, you basically limit yourself, because they are specifically shepherds, not to tell you everything that life has to offer, and most of them is not true. When you do your history, if you read books like you are supposed to, okay, and you study yourself, you'll begin to realize that most things that you read in these biblical texts, okay, first of all, it's not logical. Second of all, it don't make sense when it's compared to the everyday life you have today, such as why God allowed things to happen. How is Jesus going to be Jesus if this occurred, and Buddha and all this kind of stuff, okay? So it derives only from a concept than it does fact. Okay, this isn't Morpheus words. This is your library's words. Okay, this is the Alexandria library's words. Okay, this is the Apocryphas. Do your research. It's your Apocrypha. Read the Apocrypha. Read other books. Read history. Read the history of the Egyptian culture. Read about Egypt. Okay, read about how old Egypt was compared to the Bible today. When I'm talking about how the Bible began everything, when you know for a fact that Egypt was before the Bible. Okay, but not to get specifically with that. Okay, because most of you already know this. If you don't, use this as a crumb of information to build your spirituality and do your own research. Okay, here it is. I would say, my dear friend, I am glad that you have got out of religion. Religion, look at it as a family of people that think the same. That's all you got to do. Very basically simple. Just look at it as a group of people who think the same. Okay, who think that their fate is the same, think that their destinies are the same, and it is not. Okay, or you could say, as some people will say, well, I eat certain type of foods religiously. Okay, those are two type of things. You can say consecutively, or you can say diligently. When you bridge in the confusion of religion, or the definition of religion, then you have confusion. And the America has enough confusion as it is. It loves confusion, because when you live on confusion, you are distorted. How you live thereafter after religion, or you could say church, okay, is that you stick with your facts. And you don't go by what others tell you. You go by your facts. You go by history. You go by what you know it to be, not what's been entrained into you. If you realize, most of you, my dear family, listen, when you realize that most everything, and I have another video on this that you need to look up right after this. Okay, if you haven't looked at it, it's called the programmed mind, meaning being programmed. You need to look at that, because it talks about how you are programmed from childhood to go into a system that you did not create, that you did not agree with. And as a child, you was innocent. You was bombarded by the ideas of other people. Okay, so now you and other people who have derived yourself or have risen above the lies, you could say, or the misconception, or you could just say basically the ideas of other people. All you need to do now is seek your own path of life. Now, for some people, this may be dangerous, because some people need guidance. That's why they're in the church. That's why they're sucking on placebos. That's why they need the pastors to tell them what to do. When you are in this stage of life, my dear brother, listen to me. That means you are evolving. That means you are becoming a better man. That means you are becoming the entity, the energy, and the species that God really wants you to be, and not the God, as I discuss all the time, that man have said, not the God that your grandmothers have told you about, not the God that these churches are talking about, the God who have brought you into existence, which is an energy, just like this sunlight. It's an energy. That's a form of God. You can say that God is like that. It's an energy that brought you into existence. You can say that the energy is the same thing that caused the Big Bang Theory. You see, you can bridge science into this if you want to. It's just that real, and it's just that simple. The same as the Big Bang Theory, two asteroids come together and bang, you have the Earth. It's still an energy complex. It's still an idea of an energy that created life from it. So it doesn't have to have a gender, my dear friend. It doesn't have to be male or female. It is God concept, as in it. Okay. And as I always say, even the God concept is something that you have to take out of your vocabulary and say your creator, or you can say the all maker, which is actually a fact. An all maker or your creator, which have created your existence in your circumference. Okay. Now, with that, your morals generally is already within you. There's already an act within yourself to know what good is, to know what bad is, to know what you should do and what you should not do. Okay. Generally, in the average person should be, okay, I've been watching these colleges and these people in college, and I'm gonna get on that in a few minutes. In one of my other videos, I'm gonna talk about that they try to find morality in college and you're not gonna find it there. Anyway, you already naturally have a knack of knowing where there's a boundary. You know where there's a boundary because the all maker is not stupid like man is. Your creator is not dumbed down like humans. You understand? Your creators are smarter than human beings. So smart enough that it was able to create you and to create your own evolution. Because my brother, my friend, and family, not a lot of people have been able to evolve to the next stage of their reality. They stayed down here in class. That means church or religion. Religion is just a stepping stone. There's thousands of stairs to get to your higher evolution up here. Okay. So there's a lot of people who are down there. You was able to free yourself by the love of yourself, by the concern of your future. Usually that's what get people to the next stage of their paradigm. When you start doing your research is because you start caring about this God that you worship, or this Jesus that you worship, or this Muslim concept, or any other type of religion. You start loving yourself and you start saying, hey, wait a minute, let me look at this for myself. Let me go to these places. Let me go to the library. Let me figure it out. Let me figure out what these words are before I put my entire life on it. When you start doing that, my American family, same as our minister here, okay, listen to me. You start developing self. You start loving yourself realistically. You start becoming the person that your creator wanted you to be. Your creator don't want you to be down here. Your creator don't want you to limit your life to the human manual of control, which is the Bible. The Bible is the human manual of control, or you can say the manual of human control. That's what the Bible is, and specifically multiple religions, because there's only one truth. Usually, whenever you have to bridge it to a different formation, it's not true. You don't get it right. It's like this. You go to the store, you got one kind of pickle, just this cucumber dipped in vinegar or something like that. And you just, saute it. You can add spices or whatnot. It's original, right? What happens is a lot of these cultures or people, they begin to branch their idea off of this type of pickle concept. Okay. And what happens is they create their own flavors. They create their own ideas based on their own lifestyle. Because realistically, something that's true, you don't have to modify it. You don't have to pamper it, because you want to accept it for what it is. Whenever you have to have several flavors of a thing, or several ideas of a thing, that means you don't really trust nor believe in what you're talking about. And that means you don't want to accept truth. Truth is going to be raw and uncut. Like what some people say, and you can always hear me say, Morpheus is like breathing. You're breathing. You breathe in a form of air, which is a form of water, which is a form of evaporated water. H2O, you're breathing it in, okay? In the form of its oxygenated form. So you're breathing that in to get your oxygen, okay? So that's in its basic form. You can't actually manipulate that. Most people accept that for the way that it is. 89% of them, although you have geeks and scientists and other people who want to tell you something different. But to make it simple, you say, oh, I'm just breathing air. So when you modify that in your own understanding, that means you're trying to modify your life to your liking. So again, not to get on the rant with this, because I can talk about it all day, because this has been one of my major studies, is this, my dear friends and family. You have to just consistently do the right thing for yourself. Okay? you automatically know what you should and shouldn't do. There are still consequences and boundaries, my dear friends. You still have to be loyal to your brothers and your sisters. There's still no killing, okay? There's still no stealing. You know, you still don't lay with your, your next door neighbor's wife or husband. You know, those things, you know that already within yourself. And when you have a higher connection to the real God, you're going to have a sense of conviction, and you should, regard. That doesn't mean that that's Jesus calling you, okay? That's not some religious sector calling. It's not the preacher telling you that you're a sinner going to hell because you do something wrong. No, that's your own internal conviction, okay, that you already have within yourself. But yet there is still consequences. You move forward by continuing to do the right thing, by continuing to evolve yourself, by studying what works best for you. Okay, if it's not harming anybody, if it's not destroying the world, if it's making the world a better place. I'm not talking about technology. I'm talking about when you're spewing the truth and you're actually providing a balance for the environment and for other people. Okay, and when you are actually moving yourself forward for the betterment of your soul, then you're on the right track. You don't have to call it religion. You don't have to call it a belief system. You just say you're a living being. Some people say, oh, you're atheist. They'll say, don't label me. Just say I'm a human being. I'm a person just like you are. And you keep it simple like that. So, oh, what kind of religion do you have? Why do you need a religion? The only time, again, you need a religion and you've broken away from it. Those people who need the religion now are those who are still in class. You graduated from that class now. You are the person that you need to be. And as a matter of fact, I guess they are the person they need to be too, because they need guidance. You understand? But once they start loving themselves, once they start comprehending that they have to take control and be accountable for their own action in their soul's direction, and reading and getting the information from themselves, then they move forward. Okay? So the idea here, my dear minister friend, is to stay on the right track in which you're on, because eventually your creator is going to reveal itself to you outside of the book. It will reveal itself to you in different ways than that, because that's the relationship that your creator really wants, is to get closer to you, not to get closer to you by books and paper. Your creator can't get to you that way. Your creator is not in the ministry. The ministry is an indoctrination. It's a program based on ministers that have to go to school and get trained to indoctrinate people like you used to be. The real God don't need to indoctrinate. The real God don't need to send nature to school to give you something. The real God don't need to teach someone to be a voice for it. Okay? It works through everything, and it works through nature to speak to you. Okay? So that's the direction that you need to go. And don't go back. Please don't go back, because you got to know this. If you're not talking to your God directly, your creator, and you have the connection as you should naturally, okay, what makes you think that people who are not you are going to speak for your God? That's like you in a relationship with your mom or your dad. You just love your mom and dad, and your dad and mom have to ask somebody else to talk to you for them. That's not a relationship. It would never be. So that means the middleman is there, and they're usually there to indoctrinate you, because there's one thing that your country, and that's the reason why our country is in such a demise, and I'm here to help you all. The reason why your country, the reason why humanity, the reason why human beings themselves have not evolved to a better plane of thinking and of their intelligence, okay, is because they limit themselves to indoctrination. Okay, break free of that and be the God species that you are supposed to be. Then the earth and yourself can evolve with the real God and have a direct conversation with the creator who have brought you into existence. So you're on the right path, and that would be my suggestion. Keep your mind open, continue to do the right thing, and still stay on your morals and values, because that's not in a book. The morals and values are already in you, and it should be. Sadly, for a lot of people, it's not there, because, listen, they lost their instincts. And that's what it is. When you have your instincts, morals and values are going to be intact. When you lose that, your morals and values go out the window. Okay, and it doesn't take church to bring those morals and values back. It takes getting connected with yourself, getting connected with your higher power, which is outside of the book. All right, next, my dear friends and family, is someone else asked some of the same question, but this was kind of different. It says, Morpheus, you are the all-knowing. No, I'm not. Okay, you're trying to be funny now. Morpheus, you are the all-knowing, but I will ask you, LOL. Okay. I will ask you this question. I've been watching and seeing all these movements occurring, like the LGBT, the feminist movement, the Me Too movement, the other movement, and Maytown movement, and other movements that are to come. Then there are other movements that are being produced by this country alone. I need your help, because there are many people that saying that all these things are about love, and to do all movement mean there's no boundaries. And with the gender pronunciations, wow, with the gender pronunciations and with all the variations that we are bringing into the society, I think it's too much, especially with the overture of technology and drugs that are being permitted into the society against and by the side of innocent children. What do you say about this when all I see is that we want to do all and everything that we can do? Please describe this, because I know that there is boundaries somewhere, and you are the one who answers the most difficult questions. Well, I will say this out of all modesty. Okay, I don't know everything. I answer as best as I know. Okay, and at the same time, if I'm answering the questions as accurately as you are receiving them, that's because my life is to be true. You understand? And because my intentions is to empower you. I can't empower you if I'm lying to you, because I've told you in my other videos, ball pin light. Okay, I told you in my other videos that if this country is going to move forward to be advanced, it is for the children's sake. So if I am lying, or if I don't try to do my part and give you the proper information as possible, then I am not doing nothing but putting blood on my hand concerning the children of tomorrow. Because I am as affected as you are affected. I am as affected as your children are affected, because I care about your children, because I care about America, and I care about tomorrow. Just like you giving me these questions, okay, they're not difficult to ask, because they're very simple. Because I realize that all these things is based on confusion, and it's destroying the American construct. It's destroying value, and it's definitely confusing our children who are trying to look for identity. And usually our identity is in very simple things that we make overly complex unnecessarily. Okay, the reason why we're having a problem is because we are doing too much, my dear emailer. Okay, and I am on the same path as you are. In order for us to bring down the fires that are in the forest, we all got to work together and pull and distinguish out these fires that are happening everywhere. And these fires are happening everywhere is because, mind you, there are some parents who didn't do their job like they were supposed to. Here's real red pill. I'm going to give it to you uncut. There was parents who didn't do their job like they were supposed to. There are parents who wanted to be friends instead of being parents. There were women, instead of them wanting to have a balanced house, they decided to be a parent all by themselves and get rid of the logical male out of their house. So it becomes lopsided eventually, no matter what she's getting for Father's Day. Okay. And then you have your indoctrination system, which is your churches and your religious establishment, which is confusing the entire, you can say, the entire collaboration of our American unity. And in order to get the answers, you got to pull back. And like I just told, like we was talking to our minister brother, okay, that he is evolving. It's because of the misconception of our limited thinking that is binding us down from evolution. Okay, so when you are trying to find your identity, when you don't have your instincts, when you are losing your connection with your real allmaker, and you are depending on what the Bible says or what religious tells you to do, you limit yourself and you can't evolve. You can't go nowhere. And therefore, if you bridge that through life itself, it's like when you are battling. Okay, I'm very familiar with that. But when you are battling in war, okay, let's say you're just fighting with a blade or something, or a 9mm, and that's all you have. Okay, You know that in battle it requires different types of strategies. You need different tools to peruse. Even in your office setting, you can't just you can't be a secretary just depending on your computer alone, and you have no attachments. You have no copier, you have no fax machine, you have no file cabinet, you have no chair. All you have is a computer. So you have to depend on various things to actually move forward. So what religion does is tell you, oh, I'm just going to give you this laptop and that's it. And you got to run this whole corporation off this laptop. It's almost nearly impossible. Actually, it is impossible, because you're going to need fax machines. You're going to need a copier. You're going to need people. You're going to need a corporation. You're going to need ground. You're going to need proceeds. You're going to need activity, and you're going to need your own body energy in order to focus on that. However, in some religious aspirations, my dear friend, and it's going right into this, it collaborates in what we're talking about now. Okay. In some religious aspirations, it's only called, listen, prophetic words. What that means is they add wisdom in their religious aspirations to make you think that the entire religious aspiration is true. Just like the Bible, the Christian Bible is this. It's only just say it's a book of poems. This would be like that, okay? In those poems, okay, there are certain passages that are very wise words that make sense with everyday life, that can compile with everything that you do, because it's human nature. And as Morpheus, I'm going to tell you this. Did you realize that people in those days were actually more smarter than we are? I'm going to tell you why. Because they kept things simple. You understand? So if this Bible text was created so many years ago, even though we know that those people in there weren't real and the story was just a plain story, right? How they developed the Bible, okay, was not through prophecy. It was by prophetic words, meaning words of wisdom, words of, what do you call that? Words of knowledge, okay, words of ideas, because they knew their humanity. They knew their flesh. They knew about sex. They knew about bonding. They knew about marriage and all these things that we have occurred today, because human nature is still the same, because we have not evolved. Okay, we're still not flying. Okay, even though we're trying to symbiotically, or you could say we're trying to synchronize with our computers now. That's why we are really going downhill, because we're now getting rid of our human flesh and trying to be a part of the computer chip world, okay, in the plastic world. But at the same time, the basic form of human, or the basic form of functioning, is still the same. Okay, what's happening, my dear email, is this. A lot of these people today, the reason why you see a decrease is, you're right, because they're compiling all these movements, all these try to self-identity, all these pronunciations and pronouns to something that's very basically simple. And what happens is the balloon begins to go down. The hot air balloon begins to go down. That means you're not evolving. That means you got too much anvil and weight on this basket, and you can't fly nowhere. Okay? Once it was floating through time with man and woman with just one simple idea and trying to make it happen with the fluctuation. Okay? The idea was to go higher and to evolve our human species and to do better for our children in this country. But when you start adding all these unnecessary movements, you got Me Too, LGBT, and the feminist movement. I don't even want to say them because it sounds filthy every time I say it, because that's what most people talk about. But you have all this stuff, and it's not doing nothing but bogging us down. Okay, now the boundary is this. The boundary means you got to take something and you throw it out. I mean, it's no good for the environment. It's no good for the society. But nobody's willing to do that until, listen, nobody's willing to do that until catastrophe, my dear friend. I have learned, you have learned, all of you have studied and comprehend humans through history. Usually we in society and our American people don't comprehend things until it explodes. Until we hit that wall 100 miles an hour, policies never change, because there is a program in place where all these unnecessary movements are purposely produced and made, so that way the balloon can fall and be an instant catastrophe for everyone. Common sense would tell you to put on your brakes. Good sense would tell you, not common sense, good sense would tell you, put on your brakes because you're going to hit the wall. Okay? But the car is bogged down. It's way too much. It's too much weight on the hot air balloon because nobody wants to throw it out. Nobody wants to fight against it. Nobody wants to say, hey, this is no good for humanity. What are we doing? And you are emailing me and saying, there is boundaries. You said, where are the boundaries? There is boundaries. You can't love everything and love everybody. There is a difference. Just like you love your daughter or your son. Okay? This channel is PG. But there is a different love that you will have for your daughter and your son than what you would do for your companion, which was your adult husband at an adult age. Okay? You cannot lay with your child. You understand? It's not that type of party, and it's not that type of love. But you can lay with your companion. You can lay with your husband or your wife. Okay? You understand? So there are boundaries to what you do, like grandma, grandpa, and, you know, laying with your dad and all that kind of sick stuff. Okay? Those things should not happen, and it cannot happen. Well, however, my dear friend, okay, what humans do is this. The psychology of them today is once you have one program in place to say that I can love and be with anybody that I want, you're going to have another group of people that's going to rise up and say, oh, really? I can do it too because this fits me. And then guess what, my dear family, American friends? Look, oh, here come another group. I can do it too. All right. Listen to what I just told you about the Christian faith or just belief. Listen, it's been happening through history where you have one thing that's working fine. It's working good for everybody and its various forms. Okay. And it's doing good for humanity. It's doing good for society. It's doing good for the American people. There's always a group of people, instead of saying I'm wrong or instead of admitting I'm mentally sick, or instead of getting help in the right places, okay, they pick off of and make a different flavor out of it, like the pickle, you see? Or they add another flavor to it, and you got another belief, and you got another religion, and you got, and then what happens to the truth? What happens to reality? It becomes dismangled, and it becomes distorted, and it's confusion. Now, even though we know this as America, as of state that's supposed to be based on values and morals and strength and liberty, right? What I am telling you as Morpheus, as the red pill, I'm giving you the red pill to let you know there's some agent Smiths that are purposely keeping you, me, and other people from deterring these drastic movements and behaviors that's destroying the society. Because the idea is, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm pretty sure most of you are reading me loud and clear, okay? That the plan is for all these things to happen so your foundation can just shatter to pieces. And then what's going to happen to America? America is going to be going downhill. I don't know too much about Atlanta or the Atlantis, okay? But you can look at it as a sinking city. Okay, I don't want that for America because there's too many people here. I care about it. I sleep with everybody. It's not that type of party either. All I'm saying is we have to get in a mindset where we are concerned about us as a team and a family, where we need to rise up to help one another because somebody several countries away is suffering, or somebody just one country or town away is suffering. Just because you don't know them, that doesn't mean you don't need to care about them, because that's somebody's child, that's somebody's mom, that's somebody's life, that we need to do the best that we can. What's damaging them is all this misinformation. All these movements is what's caused them to be like, I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to believe. My religion says that. My grandpa said this. When all the while, the writing is on the wall. Okay? So where do we stop? There is boundaries there that are naturally within us. There's a boundary between what you do and what you should not do. And again, it's already within yourself. It's already bred within you. Is that we like to bypass that for ourselves. Then there's other people that are actually accepting our sickness. That means there are doctors, psychologists, teachers, all kind of people that know that what they are pushing in a society is nothing but a poison pill for society. It's a purple pill for society. Okay? They know that. But they get paid because they know it's a purple pill. Because if it's a red pill that you're getting from Morpheus and other people, which is reality and true teaching, they won't make money. Okay? They won't get their proceeds that they need. And if most American people start taking their red pill every day and start getting out of their confusion, start getting out of the indoctrination, start getting out of the programming, okay, then America will be better. America will start rising up and doing what they need to do. But what we have to start doing, my friends, is getting rid of what has been distracting us. The ubiquitous technology has to slow down and stop. These movements have to stop being so complicated and slow itself down and get to the real facts. Because in these movements, all of them aren't occulted and assaulted. All of them aren't the genuine article. They need to be filtered out from what's real, what isn't real. Because if you just accept whoever wants to do what they want to do, oh, I'm a tree, and you call them a tree, you know, oh, I'm an automaton, I'm not a living human being, you know, that sort of thing. Because they wake up in the morning and they feel like they're a machine, they want you to call them machine. Okay, then that, you know, that's not good for the American people. And then we have our lifestyle, which is our schooling, and we have our schools, which is misindoctrination. Once we start changing that with facts and reality, the real way, because we don't have to listen, we don't have to live the life we're living here in America. We don't have to tolerate it. We don't have to allow the futures of our children tomorrow to have no future, because if we keep going where we're going, if we keep allowing this misinformation for you, my minister brother, allowing churches in this misindoctrination of facts, because listen to what the ministers say and the pastors, they will try to give you a little bit of wisdom while they're preaching you from their indoctrination book, just so you can be winged into it, because a lot of you are. You'll say, well, I still love my pastor and my minister, and my religious sector has been helping me all that time. Yeah, they've been helping you, but they've been keeping you on the hook at the same time. It's just like drugs. You get hooked, you get your dopamine, you get your high, but the thing is, it's still addictive. You still got to keep coming back for more. So they're going to tell you something like, yeah, you should pay your bills, or yeah, you know, you shouldn't lay with your sister, you shouldn't lay with your brother, you shouldn't do this, and you should be right, you should get married. Yeah, they'll say common things that you should already know, okay? All the while they're holding on this religion, okay, holding on this indoctrination while they're trying to give you a little bit of the truth at the same time. So the idea is to lie to you and to give you a little bit of the truth just to keep you coming back for more, when what you need to do is get rid of it altogether. It's like a bad relationship. Somebody who loves you and they care about you, you got kids by them, that's the good thing. But you know that they're no good for you. So you say, well, but they're paying the bills and they love me and I care about them and I got kids by them. I don't want to get rid of her because I've been with her for 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, 5 years, but I want to know if I'm doing the right thing. So you're having a bitter pill with a good pill and you mixing it up. So you're half loyal, you're half with reality, so the confusion begins. What you need to do, what Morpheus wants from you, what I want y'all to consistently do, is get rid of all the negativity so you can be whole, WHOLE, in the God species concept that you really are, because you don't need to depend on that altogether. If you want somebody to love you and do right by you, they need to do right by you all the way around. Okay, if that preacher and minister is telling you the truth all the way around, then it shouldn't be called a religion. Hello? It shouldn't be called indoctrination, and they shouldn't have to go to a college or a school in order to teach you what God is telling you. Because I didn't go to indoctrination to tell you these things. I didn't go to a school to tell you what I know, what I'm telling you. That's the same as what they should be able to do, but they can't do it because they get paid to do that. You understand? Anytime somebody gets paid to be with you, that means they're obligated to be there because they're getting paid. If they don't get paid, they're not going to do it. Okay? And truth will not want to lie to you, because truth wants to be true no matter what at the end of the day. Okay, and it feeds that person to tell you the truth, and most times it's their occupation. This ain't my occupation. I don't get paid to do this. Okay, yeah, I got a book that y'all be reading. That's a nice book, but it's actually to empower y'all and to actually help the American family and people. But what I'm doing right now, You don't even get paid to be asking me questions and email me, but you are seeking for the light. You are seeking for truth and answers, and the only way to get that is to get it right, honestly, and without obligation. Now, all these movements, just don't partake in it. That's my suggestion. Don't partake in it. Step back, ask yourself a question. What is this going to do for the American people? If it's going to cause more confusion, if it's going to cause a collision in the colleges, is it going to cause a collision within our organizations? You don't need to bring it in. Anytime you bring an energy or anything into your circle, and it's going to cause a distortion and a ruffle, okay, then it's no good for the whole. You understand? No matter what they say. Oh, free speech, free this, free that, free. They'll tell you from their perspective, but they can't tell you from science, and they can't tell you from reality. Because most people only go by their feelings on what somebody else have said. But once they do, sometimes they'll do the science. They'll know what they're saying is wrong, but they will implement it anyway because they're in their feelings. Okay? So we have to look past that and look at the reality of how it's benefiting your children for tomorrow and what you want America to do, because you have the power in your hands, my family. You have the ability to change what's affecting our children tomorrow. You have the ability to bring America up, and that's what we need to do. You understand? So keep asking me questions, and I'm going to keep throwing it back at you with what you probably already know in your spirit. You just need somebody to give it to you raw and uncut. Okay, so very good, and I'm glad for you, my minister friend, that you have saved yourself, because you're no longer a mental slave. Okay, and I'm glad for you, my emailer, for asking me about all these movements and is there boundaries. There's boundaries. Okay, when people lose their boundary, my friend, and they have to go through all these movements, that means they lost their instincts. You have an instincts that the church don't give you, that your creator has already given you by you existing. If you're breathing, when you sent me this email, okay, that means your creator knew what you was doing before. To produce this energy is meant for you to produce this energy for the sake that you already have a connection with that which have created you, which have brought you into existence. So you already have it within you that something's wrong with all these movements, all these ideas, and you know what it is. It's called confusion. It's called confusion. So all you need to do now is stay on the right track and do what you know is best for yourself and your children. And like I always say in every video, stay on your square and do what's right, not just for you, but for tomorrow. Because we need to do what we can for America and for our establishment, so that way we can serve each other and do what we can, because our children are going to be the next people that are going to have to deal with whatever we drop off in front of their door. This is Leon C, aka Morpheus, and you have my email in the description box below. And if you haven't read the book here yet, it is there for your description box where you can order it for a very simple price. Very easy book to read, very simple, but it'll give you more details, and maybe that might be your next Bible. Or you can just hold on to it to actually pass on to your kids, to bring morals, to bring value, to bring stability back to our American minds. I have more for you to come. The more you ask, the more I will deliver the red pill.